Hello, this is Todd Bullis with ConcretePumping.com, and today we're going to be showing part 2 of our series, the Bennett Brothers, the creation of the 3/4 inch line pump and the first boom pump. This story is by Richard and Marvin Bennett, and this interview is part 2 of the series that was taken on March 6, 2011. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy.
Why, we started working on a concrete pump. And when I say we, Marvin did.
No, we.
But he still didn't have the idea of the piston pump for concrete. We still working, the A4 was working successfully with leather piston cups and chrome cylinders, and it was just doing great. We were selling a lot of them. But I think, I don't know what year it was now, but Tommy Thompson thought we were doing so well, we built a new factory down in Gardena. And it was a large place. He and I made the design of it and everything. And we moved down there, and we still only had plaster pumps and grout pumps. But after a while, we found out that Royal Industries was interested in our product line. And Tommy Thompson sold the company to Royal Industries. And when they bought it, Royal Industries thought they bought a concrete pump. Now these people didn't even know what the hell they were talking about. They didn't even know what a concrete pump was. So the president, chairman of the board of Royal Industries came down one day and he said, "I want to see that concrete pump." I said, "What concrete pump?" He said, "The one we just bought." I said, "We're working on it, but we don't have it yet."
Now, are you talking about a half-inch rock pump?
No, three-quarter.
Three-quarter inch rock
Yeah.
pump? Yeah, okay. So
Three-quarter.
you were in the pre-design phase or the design phase?
Just the idea stage.
Just the idea stage. So he bought an idea from Tommy Thompson.
Yeah.
And he bought the company as well?
Yeah,
Okay. Again, they're buying you.
yes. But we didn't know it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We were still too young and innocent to realize what we had.
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, how old were you guys then when you were doing that?
Oh, I don't know.
I was about 40.
40?
I must have been 30, 27.
Yeah. Anyway, we had to come up with a concrete pump. We didn't have to, we were already thinking about it and working on it. Now, Marvin and I were able to ride to work in a pickup truck and talk about design, and we could communicate. No papers, no drawings,
Yeah.
No emails.
and we visualized the whole design in our heads and everything. He'd get to work and he'd go to work, figuring out what we talked about. Now, that went on for a while, and we finally came up with the idea of the flapper valve.
And what year was that, you think?
Yeah. What year was that?
And at this time, you don't know, pretty sure there's no other big rock pumps out there.
No. They're pumpcrete.
Concrete? Yeah.
Well,
That was the big monster machine.
Yeah.
1962,
1962.
Thompson Supply was sold to Royal Industries. And so getting back to the pump design, we more or less figured it out in our heads, and now with Royal behind us, we had the money to go out and build it, his ideas. So we put together a machine, and it was mounted on a little Ford F-150, or
Something like
3/4 ton Ford,
Mm-hmm.
power takeoff.
and we used a power takeoff to drive a hydraulic pump, and that drove the hydraulic cylinders that pumped the concrete. Now, at that time, we thought a 6-inch system was large, it was big, because we've been working with pea gravel.
Mm-hmm.
So we built the first one with a 6-inch flapper valve, which was a 4-way valve that allowed you to use 2 cylinders and produce a steady flow. And but the 6-inch valve, working with a 9-inch cylinder, was kind of a problem because you had too much reduction from the cylinder size to going through the valve.
Right.
So then Marvin just said, well, I'll make a 9-inch valve. So he did.
Yep.
And the 9-inch valve, we felt, was very successful for many years. Now, I know that in some areas, like New York trap rock, which is miserable for any pump, or even down in southern states, there's lousy concrete. But out here in California, where we had river rock, which was very pumpable and so on. So really, that's why in California is where all the pumpers, manufacturers got started, because they could pump the mix out here.
Right.
Now, in the United States, we had ready-mix concrete at that time. So we could use the portable pumps. But in Europe, they didn't have ready-mix concrete. So they were still lagging behind what was going on in California. So this little 600 pump with a 6-inch valve, I sold it to an old man. The first one we ever built, I sold it to an old man who was hard of hearing. He'd take that pump out to the job, hook it up, get it going. He's very smart about it. And he started up, and he wouldn't stop it for anybody until he ran out of concrete. They'd holler at him, he's hard of hearing, playing, pretend that he couldn't hear them. And so, but it worked out because they learned that they had to keep going to keep up with him. But then, oh, and by the way, Royal Industries corporate office was up in Pasadena. And Mr. Johnson, president of Royal, asked Marvin and I to come up to a meeting and bring the pump. So we drove the truck up there and parked it in the parking lot near the meeting. And he was really mad because he said, I thought I told you to bring that pump. I said, what's down there? Where? I don't see it. He says, there's that truck. And then he became so happy with our progress and everything that once a year we'd have a corporate meeting on it at
La Quinta.
La Quinta.
I remember that.
And we had a joint meeting with another big corporation, so there was a lot of people there. So he had Marvin bring the pump down. Oh, I got ahead of myself, because we had to have a boom. Anyway, he had Marvin bring the pump down with a boom and show it to all these people about how we could pump concrete. And he put it up over the hotel and everything. So anyway, back to the 600. A lot of them sold, but everybody they didn't like to lift that 3-inch hose around because they weren't used to it.
Right.
And so one day this young fella came in the yard with a gin pole on his truck. He said, look here, Mr. Bennett, I've got this gin pole and I can pick the hose up and move it around. So I said, well, that's great. So then Marvin, with his ideas, he says, well, we got to have a boom. So he sat down, and it could take him about a few days, and he had a design.
The lattice boom.
Yeah, and on the truck, 600 truck, we had a water tank because we wanted them to be able to have water to clean up the machine. And this boom socket was put into the water tank, and the water tank was used for the base for the boom. It was stick boom. Stick boom is one that's just rigid. It was pipe sections and supporting framework that bolted together, and we actually bolted
10-foot sections.
10-foot section. We actually bolted about 10 of them together. And I went down in Long Beach, and nobody else would do it. They were afraid to do it, but I raised that thing up to the top of the Long Beach city hall or jail or something and pump concrete up there.
All right, let me